You know what else got blocked today? The Trump and Musk gambit that turned out these thousands of people at the Treasury building this week to protest. The news that Trump had let his top campaign donor inexplicably access the payment system at the U.S. Treasury that sends out everything from your Social Security check to your tax refund to everything else the government pays for. That news in particular had caused pretty understandable and pretty widespread freakout in this country. First, among Treasury employees, including the acting Treasury Secretary, somebody who's been employed at the Treasury Department for decades, who's a career, nonpartisan civil servant. He tried to stop them from getting their hands on this payment system, and then he resigned when he couldn't stop them. But it caused a big freakout inside Treasury. It also caused a significant freakout among members of Congress. It also caused a significant freakout among members of the public. We know that in part because members of Congress have been telling the press this week that as the numbers of phone calls to House and Senate offices have skyrocketed over this past 2 weeks, with people complaining about Trump's actions and demanding that their members of Congress and their senators stand up and do whatever they can to stop Trump. A significant proportion of the calls they've been getting, according to members of Congress, are, quote, panicked calls from regular Americans, specifically about this thing at Treasury, about the payment system at Treasury being handed over to Elon Musk's little unsupervised playgroup. And this was made worse, frankly, when Trump's newly confirmed Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, assured everybody repeatedly that the access that he had allowed Elon Musk and his team to this particularly sensitive payment system at the Treasury, he assured everybody that their access to the system was read-only, meaning that they weren't even trying to use their access to the system to cut off any payments of any kind. They'd never even had that in mind. Well, despite those assurances from Scott Bessent, reporting in the Washington Post and in the New York Times and in the Associated Press and elsewhere would now seem to indicate that Scott Bessent was either lying or wrong when he gave everybody those assurances that their access was, quote, read-only. In fact, according to this recent reporting, from the very outset, from their very first demands to get access to that incredibly sensitive system that partisan actors have never before had access to, Elon Musk's people made clear that the reason they wanted access to that system was specifically because they intended to use it to stop funds from going out. On their own say-so. Funds they thought shouldn't go. So we're starting to get a sense, 2.5 weeks into this new Trump term, about the fact that pushback definitely works, but the different forms that pushback can take. So, like in this case with the Treasury payment system, we get direct action. We get a big, impressive, basically impromptu protest organized on very short notice at the Treasury. We get Treasury officials doing what they can to stop what they're trying to do and then sounding the alarm about why they resigned when they weren't able to stop it. We get regular Americans calling their members of Congress and blowing their stacks about this. We then get Democratic members of Congress blowing their stacks and going to the protest and calling press conferences and demanding answers from the administration. We get the press blowing up, the press doing reporting and blowing up this calm down, nothing to see here, apparent set of lies from the administration about what, in fact, they have been up to with this scheme at Treasury. All these different forms of pushback. And now, hello, as of today, we get a federal judge throwing down a court order and blocking them from doing anything inside the Treasury payment system.